So, dear students, on behalf of IPS Academy, Institute of Engineering and Science, I welcome all the students in the lecture series for GATE 2021 under Prerna scheme sponsored by AICTE. So, it is the lecture 2 of the lecture series, and in the previous lecture, we have discussed about the basic concepts of thermodynamics. In that lecture, we have discussed about the terminologies that are used in thermodynamics. We have discussed zeroth law, significance of temperature measurement. Now, in this lecture, that is lecture number 2, we are going to discuss about energy interaction, that is heat and work. Okay. So, in this particular lecture, we will focus our attention on work interaction. So, first, let us define work. So generally in class 11th you have studied a work is said to be done when applied force produces displacement in the direction of force. Okay. So to accommodate that definition, we will define work as a energy transfer associated with a force acting through a distance. Okay. A rising piston, a rotating shaft, and an electric wire crossing the system boundary are all associated with work interaction. Okay. So on the screen in the diagram number 1, you can see here that there is no motion associated. Okay. But if I connect this electrical system with a motor, then there will be a rising of weight. Okay. So it can be associated with rising of weight. So it is electrical work. Okay. In the second figure, you can see shaft work. If I attach some load with it and rotate it, then it will lift that weight. So it will accommodate the previous definition that a work is said to be done when applied force produces displacement in the direction of force. And the third type is the spring interaction. Okay. The spring force is working and there is a motion of the object and there is a certain displacement associated with it. So in our study, we will interact or we will encounter only these three types of work interaction. Okay. Now there are certain sign conventions associated with work. So in the previous lecture, I defined what the system is all about, what is surrounding and what is boundary. So here there is a sign convention that when a work is done by the system, that is some sort of output is being given by that work done, then it is considered as positive. Okay. And when work is done on the system, that is some sort of input is associated with work done, then it is considered as negative. Okay. So I would like to give a simple example that if our system is gas, okay, and it is working to move the piston, okay, then there is work output. Okay. So it is positive. And when piston compresses the gas, if the gas is the system, then the work is done on the system and it is negative. Okay. So you can easily remember it by the prefix of output and input, that the work done by the system, that is output, some output is coming, so it is considered as positive. and work done on the system, that is some input is associated, then it is considered as negative. So this is the sign convention of work. Similarly, there is a sign convention of heat also. Heat input is positive and heat output, if the system is giving some heat, then it is considered as negative, and if system is taking some sort of heat, then it is considered as positive. So we'll discuss about heat interaction in the next lecture. Okay, now in the previous lecture I have defined quasi static process. Okay, because we have discussed what is reversible process, what is irreversible process, and we have seen that no process can be reversible. Okay, there is always some sort of irreversibility associated with the process which makes it irreversible. So for analysis we have considered a quasi static process. Quasi means almost and static means equilibrium. So let us derive an equation of work for a quasi static process or a moving boundary work. Okay, so on the screen you can see that there is a piston cylinder arrangement, and our system is the gas which is filled inside the cylinder. Okay, so I will derive the equation for a moving boundary work in a quasi static process. So I think that the screen is visible. So we are going to determine moving boundary work in a quasi static process. Quasi means almost and static means equilibrium. So this is a piston cylinder arrangement, and our system is ideal gas, and I'm marking the boundary of our system by a dotted line. So this is our system which I have assumed as an ideal gas. Okay, so the piston is compressing our gas, so it is exerting certain force on our gas. Okay, so now let us consider a small displacement of the piston, let it be dx. Okay, if it is not visible I will change the font. So this is our piston cylinder arrangement, and our system is ideal gas, and I'm marking the boundary of our system. So a system is being exerted by certain force by this piston, let it be F. Okay, so due to the action of this force, let us consider a small displacement of our piston, let it be dx. Okay, and let be the cross sectional area of this cylinder be A. Okay, now the differential work that this piston is doing on our system, that is dw, is nothing but force times displacement. Okay, so this is the differential amount of work that is being acted upon on our system, that is force time the displacement. So I have put this type of differential, as in the previous lecture we have discussed, that work is not an exact differential. Okay, now I would like to convert this equation into that form which can be measured. Okay, so it is very difficult to measure force here. Okay, but I can measure pressure by the help of a pressure gauge. So I would like to convert it into terms of that parameter that can be measured very easily. So we know that pressure is force per unit area. Okay, and the force can be written as pressure times area. Okay, so instead of this force, I will write pressure times area. So the equation will become pressure times area into dx. So why I have converted this force? Because it is very difficult to measure force here, but pressure can be measured very easily by using a pressure gauge. Okay, now dx is nothing but the volume of this element. Okay, so it can be written as p times dv. Okay, so if I have to calculate the total work in compression of this ideal gas, so we have to integrate it, and we have to write down work done during the process 1 2 is nothing but integration of p dv from 1 to 2. Okay, so this is the equation of work done in a quasi static process. Okay, so I hope you have written down. So we have derived the equation of work done for a quasi static process for a moving boundary work. Okay, now I am representing this work done on a PV diagram. Okay, so I'm representing this compression process on a PV diagram, as you can see on the screen. Am I audible? Okay, so this is the initial state. Okay, having certain pressure P1, certain volume V1, and this is the final state having certain pressure P2 and volume V2. Okay, so this is the process path, and we have considered it as a quasi static process. Okay, now you can see that for the differential amount of work dw, okay, if we mark it on PV diagram, so this small rectangle and its height can be almost considered as p. Okay, which is the average of these two, as it is a very small rectangle, and its length is nothing but dv. Okay, so its height is p and its length is dv. So the area of this small rectangle is nothing but pdv. Okay, so the area or the differential area of this particular element is p times dv. And previously we have derived the equation for quasi static process work done, that is also pdv. So from this inference you can conclude that the area under the PV diagram when projected on volume axis will give a closed system moving boundary work. Okay, so it is, this statement is also asked in gate exam. So you should know that the area should be projected on volume axis. Then it will give you closed system work for a quasi static process. Okay. Now there are certain conditions to apply this equation. Okay, while deriving this equation we have assumed certain parameters. Okay, though the first parameter is that the system must be a closed system. Okay, it is not applicable for an open system. Okay, so the system must be a closed system. The second most important condition is that the work should cross the boundary. Okay, if the work is not crossing the boundary, then we cannot apply this equation. And the third and the most important point is that the process must be a reversible process. Okay, if the process is not a reversible process, then we cannot apply work done to be integration of pdv. Okay, so these are the necessary condition to apply this particular equation. Now in this first PV diagram, you can see we are having a system with initial configuration at state 1 and state 2. Okay, and it is reaching state 2 via path A, path B, and path C. And from the previous discussion, we have concluded that the area under the curve on a PV diagram, when projected on volume axis, will give the closed system work for a quasi-static process. So you can easily figure out that the area under the curve A is more than the area under the curve B. Okay, and the area under the curve C is the least. So irrespective of the initial and final state, and final state, the amount of work done depends on the path that system follows in reaching that particular state. So from this you can conclude work to be a path function. Okay, as we have already discussed in the previous lecture, that the properties are point function. So the boundary work done during a process depends on the path followed as well as the end states. Okay, so in the second PV diagram you can see the net work done during a cycle, and it is the difference between the work done by the system and the work done on the system. You can easily calculate it by subtracting these two. Now let us consider certain processes. Okay, so I will show it to you on board. So I'm stop sharing the screen. So we are discussing moving boundary work. Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I will illustrate certain processes. Isochoric. Okay. So isochoric process is the process in which the volume will remain constant. So in isochoric process, the volume will remain constant. So I would like to represent it on PV diagram. So it is a pressure volume diagram, and I am representing a isochoric process. So this is the initial state. This is the final state. Is it a isochoric process? Can anyone tell me? Can anyone tell me? Any student? Is it a right figure for an isochoric process? Any student? So I think all are sleeping. So I will make it correct. So this is a correct representation for an isochoric process, as the volume will remain constant. So we have derived the equation for work done for non-flow processes, that is integration of PdV. Okay. So for an isochoric process, if I integrate it, it will become P V2 minus V1, and it will came out to be 0 as V1 is equal to V2. So you can note down, for an isochoric process, the work done is 0. Okay. So let us have an example on isochoric process. Okay. So the problem is, a rigid tank contains air at 500 kilopascal and 1508 degrees centigrade. As a result of heat transfer to the surrounding, the temperature and the pressure inside the tank drops to 658 degrees centigrade and 400 kilopascal respectively. So you have to determine the boundary work during this process. So obviously it is written on the screen, and I have already derived it, that the work done is 0 as the volume is constant, and it is the representation of an isochoric process on PV curve. Okay. So you can easily figure out that if you calculate the area under this curve, it will be a point. Okay. And it will came out to be 0. So boundary work for a constant volume process. So this type of, okay. Now let us take another process, that is a constant pressure process or isobaric process or isopistic process. Okay. So you can focus your attention on these equation that we have calculated or derived work done for a quasi-static process to be integration of PdV with that certain assumptions we have made. Okay. So here the pressure is constant, and if you take it out of this integration, it will be integration of dV, and it will came out to be V naught V2 minus V1. Okay. So the equation to calculate the work done for a constant pressure process is P V2 minus V1. Okay. And in terms of specific volume, it can be further illustrated as this. So you have seen that when the process is constant volume, the work done is 0. But when the process is constant pressure, we are getting some sort of work. Okay. So let us take an example. So a frictionless piston cylinder device contains 10 kg of ideal gas. So it is a piston cylinder arrangement, and it is having 10 kg of ideal gas at a pressure of 60 Newton per meter square, and the volume is given as 2 meter cube. Now it is given that heat is added so that the volume of the gas reaches to 6 meter cube. And if the piston is not attached to the shaft and its mass is constant, then you have to determine the work done by the gas during this process. Now, can anyone? Now, I appreciate if the student pause the screen and try to solve this question. So it is a oral question that here the value of P naught is given as 60 Newton per meter square. Okay. And V2 is given as 6 meter cube and V1 is given as 2 meter cube. So 6 minus 2, that is 4 times 60. Okay. So all the units are SI units, so there is no need to change it further. So it is a very simple question. Now let us move further. Now let us take an isothermal process. An isothermal process is a process in which the temperature will remain constant. Okay. So let us derive the equation for work done in an isothermal process. Okay. So I am associating so I am associating uh, every process with some sort of numerical so that you can get a feel of it. Okay. So for gate point of view, this derivation is not important, but you should know how the final result will came out. So obviously the assumption is that the system is an ideal gas, so we can use ideal gas equation. So we can use PV is equal to MRT, that is constant, and from this PV is equal to C. Okay, so P is nothing but C by V. Now let us go back to our quasi-static work done equation, that is integration of PdV. So in place of P, you can write C by V. Okay, so here you can write C by V. As C is constant, you can take it out of integration and it will become dV by V. Okay, so the integration of 1 upon V is nothing but ln V. And when you put the limit, it will become C ln V2 by V1. Now this C is having two relation. It can be written down as P1 V1, it can be written down as P2 V2, or it can be written down as MRT. So whatever facilitates you, you can write down. So here the result is represented as P1 V1 ln V2 by V1. Okay. So instead of P1 V1, you can also write down P2 V2. Okay. And you can also write down MRT in place of P1 V1. So let us consider an example of an isothermal compression. So a piston cylinder device is given and having an initial volume of 0.4 meter cube, and the pressure is given as 100 kilopascal and the temperature is 80 degrees Celsius. Now this piston is compressing this air such that its volume get decreased to 0.1 meter cube. Okay, in such a way that the temperature inside the cylinder will remain constant. So you have to determine the work done during this process. So all the parameters are given. Okay, the volume initial, volume final is given. Initial volume is 0.4, final volume is given as 0.1. Okay, so V2 and V1 are known. Here V1 is known, and the pressure is also given. Okay, so pressure is also given. So when you put it in this equation, it came out to be minus 55.5 kilojoule. Okay, so as far as the sign convention is concerned, I have already defined that when the work is done on the system, okay, when we have to do something on the system, then it will be referred as negative. So the negative signs indicate that this work is done on the system, which is an input. Okay, and obviously it is a case of compression. So in compression process, the work is always considered as negative. Okay, so till now we have discussed about isochoric, isobaric, and isothermal processes, and you can see that the work done in each processes are different from each other. In isochoric process, the work done came out to be 0 for the condition assumed. In isobaric process, it came out to be P V2 minus V1, and in an isothermal process, it came out to be P1 V1 ln V2 by V1, And in place of P1 V1 you can also write down P2 V2 or MRT. Okay, so let us discuss another process, that is polytropic process. Now the processes till we have discussed are somewhat imaginary. Now poly means many and tropic means changes. So a polytropic process is a process which involve many changes. So in this, the pressure and volume are related as PV to the power n to be constant. Okay. So as we have derived the work done for an isothermal process, in the same manner we can derive the work done for a polytropic process. Hello. Hello. Am I audible? Okay. So in this process, the pressure and volume are related as PV to the power n as constant, where n and C are constant. Okay. And the pressure for a polytropic process is represented as P is equal to CV to the power minus n, where n is polytropic index. Okay. And when you substitute this relationship and derive it, so the derivation of polytropic process and adiabatic process are same. Okay. There PV to the power gamma was constant, here PV to the power n is constant. Okay. So the final result is the work done will be mr T2 minus T1 upon 1 minus n. N should not be equal to 1. Obviously polytropic index is not equal to 1. And for special case when n is equal to 1, the boundary work will become as similar to an isothermal process. Okay. So this is the representation on a PV curve. You can note down. So this is an example of a polytropic process. So here a piston cylinder device that contains 0.05 meter cube of gas initially at 200 kilopascal. Okay. At this state, a linear spring that has a spring constant of 150 kilonewton per meter is touching the piston, but exerting no force on it. Okay. Now heat is transferred to the gas, causing the piston to rise and to compress the spring until the volume inside the cylinder doubles. So if the cross section area of the piston is 0.25 meters square, so you have to determine the final pressure inside the cylinder, the total work done by the gas, and the fraction of this work done against the spring to compress it. So obviously you can figure out it is a polytropic process. Okay. So this is a representation of this process on PV curve. You can either calculate it by calculating the area under this, or we can further proceed. So the enclosed volume at the final state is twice the initial volume. So initial volume was 0.05 meter cube. So the final volume was twice. So it will become 0.1 meter cube. Okay. So from this you can calculate the displacement of the piston. Okay. So displacement of the piston will become change in volume per unit area. Okay. So this is the change in volume and this is the area. So the x, that is the displacement of this piston, is 0.2 meter. Okay. Now the force applied by the linear spring at the final state can be given by F is equal to kx. Okay. So we know the value of k and we have determined the value of x. So it will came out to be 30 kilonewton. Okay. Now the additional pressure applied by the spring on the gas at this state is, pressure is nothing but force per unit area. We have determined this force and the area is already given. So the pressure will came out to be 120 kilopascal. Okay. Now without the spring, the pressure of the gas would remain constant. Okay, if we remove this spring, then the pressure will be constant on this piston. Okay, but as we have put, the equation will come out to be differently. So the pressure rises linearly from 200, and there will be an addition of 120 kilopascal. So the final pressure will become 320 kilopascal. So this was the first part of the solution. Now the second thing was to find out the work done. So you can find out easily by the area under the curve, that is a trapezoid, and all the parameters are given. Okay, so this is the work done by the system as it is positive. Now you have to determine the work done by the spring. Okay, so obviously you can determine it from this triangle, and it came out to be 3 kilojoule. So by this way you can calculate all the findings. Now, till now we have discussed isochoric, isobaric, isothermal, and polytropic process. Okay, and we have missed adiabatic process. So adiabatic process is a process in which the heat content of the system will remain constant. There will be no heat interaction. So in place of n here, you have to put gamma, and you can calculate the work done. So it will came out to be mr t2 minus t1 upon 1 minus gamma. So we have discussed work done for various processes. Now the next part of discussion is ideal gas. Okay. So what is ideal gas, and why the assumption of ideal gas is significant in our discussion? So any equation that relates the pressure, temperature, and specific volume of substance is called the equation of state. Now, gas and vapor are often used as synonyms. Okay, so you can see that on the screen that the real gas will approach ideal gas behavior as the pressure approaches zero. Okay, so from this you can infer that at very low pressure, all gases approaches ideal gas behavior regardless of their temperature. Okay, so real gas can be assumed as an ideal gas at very low pressures, okay, regardless of its temperature. Now the vapor, you have seen in many books that gas and vapor are often used as synonym words. Okay, the vapor phase of a substance is customarily called gas when it is above the critical temperature. So vapor usually implies a gas that is not far from a state of condensation. Okay. Now I will tell you that where you can use this ideal gas assumption when we are dealing with steam and we are dealing with refrigerants. So when you can assume them as an ideal gas and can use the ideal gas equations and ideal gas relations in that particular analysis. So for that, first discuss about let us discuss about Boyle's law, Charles law. Okay. So there were you have already gone through these type of laws, that Boyle's law, Charles law, Gay-Lussac laws. Okay, and from these law we have derived the equation of a state. Okay, that is PV is equal to MRT. So in Boyle's law, pressure and volume are related. Okay, similarly, so you can figure out that the relation will came out to be PV is equal to MRT. Okay, and in Charles law, the temperature was given a relationship. So this is an ideal gas relation, and I'm skipping it as you have already gone through this in your 11th standard. So now this is a temperature and specific volume curve. Okay, and it is determining that when you can assume steam to be an ideal gas. Okay, and the percentage associated, the percentage of error associated with it is given in this particular figure. So here you can see that this particular zone, the error associated is very less, zero point 0.1 here, 0, 0.0, 0, 0.5, 0.2, 0.8. Okay, so this particular region, which is marked by this orange color, okay, here you can see that the error associated is very less. So in this zone, the water vapor can be assumed to be an ideal gas. Okay. So from this temperature specific volume curve, we can refer some sort of inferences. So I'm listing them down. So the pressure below 10 kilopascal. So you can see from this figure that the pressure below 10 Pascal, so water vapor can be treated as an ideal gas regardless of its temperature. You can see that the zone is continuous here. Okay, and the error is almost zero point 0.1, that is negligible. Okay, so this, in this zone you can assume the water vapor to be an ideal gas. Now from this figure you can also infer that at high pressure, however, the ideal gas assumption yields unacceptable errors, particularly in the vicinity of the critical point. Okay, so you can see that it is almost 100%. Okay, now in air conditioning application, the water vapor in the air can be treated as ideal gas. So it is a important point that can be noted down, that in air conditioning application, the water vapor in the air can be treated as an ideal gas with essentially no error, since the pressure of the water vapor is very very low. Okay, however, when you are going to analyze a steam power plant, the pressure involved are very very high, so you cannot use the ideal gas relations there. Okay, so there you have to use the steam table to figure out the PVT relationships. Hello, hello, am I audible?
Sir.
Hello, am I audible? So I will mark a summary that in this lecture we have discussed the work interaction, in which we have discussed isochoric process, isobaric process, isothermal process, polytropic process. Okay, so I will list them down on board. So I'm stop sharing the screen. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
So work done, processes. Okay, and we will discuss PV graph. So the first process was isochoric. Okay. So here the work done was calculated to be 0. Okay. And what will be if I write down it as PV to the power K as constant? Okay. So to facilitate the comparison with polytropic and adiabatic process. So can you tell me what will be the value of this K? Okay. And what is the graph? What is the architecture of this PV graph? The second process that we have discussed was isobaric. And the work done came out to be P V2 minus V1. Okay. And if I represent it in form PV to the power K is equal to constant, then can you tell me for an isobaric process what will be the value of this K? Third one was isothermal. So the work done was P1 V1 ln V2 by V1. So P1 V1 can also be written as P2 V2 as PV is constant, or it can also be written as MRT ln V2 by V1. So you can manipulate PVT relations here. So here PV to the power K is equal to constant. If I write down isothermal process in this format, so what will be the value of K here? Obviously, from this you can infer that K is 1. Is this part of screen is visible? Similarly, the fourth one was polytropic. So we have left the discussion of adiabatic process. Okay. So we have PV to the power n, that is termed as constant. Okay. And if I write down in form of K, so I would like to draw compression and expansion curves for you. So I will refer this. So I am representing all the process on this PV diagram having the same initial state. So what is this process? If I write down it as 1, if I write down it as 2, okay. If this is third, this is fourth, and this is fifth, okay. So the question is you have to label what is process number 1, what is process number 2, what is process number 3, what is process number 4, and what is the value of k for process 1, process 2, process 3, process 4, and process 5. Okay. So 1 is very clear as it is a line parallel to volume axis. So it is nothing but a constant pressure process. Okay. And this particular 2 is constant volume. Okay. Now you have to identify, obviously, it is very easy that it is a constant temperature process. But you have to figure out that out of these two, which is adiabatic and which is polytropic. And the value of K is 1 here. Okay. If I write down PV to the power K is equal to constant. Okay. So for to P to be constant, the value of K should be 0. Okay. And for here, PV to the power K is equal to constant. For V to be constant here, what will be the value of K? It should be infinity. Now you have to figure out of process number 4 and 5, which is adiabatic and which is polytropic. Obviously, it is polytropic and it will be adiabatic. So these are expansion curves. Similarly, you can draw compression curves also. So let us end this discussion with a gate question.
हेलो हेलो
Yes.
सर ये मोबाइल डिस होने वाला मेरा सर और कोई भी सर प्रेजेंट नहीं है अभी
अच्छा, तो
सर एक बार हो
ठीक है,
गया
जब
मेरा
तक
मोबाइल
चले तब तक देख लो तुम।
सर हो गया 1% दिखा रहा हो सर
अच्छा अच्छा, ठीक है ठीक है ना, तो लीव कर सकते हो तुम, है ना।
अभी बंद हो जाएगा सर ये ऑटोमेटिक ही सर
ओके ओके ओके, कोई बात नहीं। So I will end our discussion with a gate question. So on a pressure volume curve, process 1 and process 2 are given. So we are not representing it by an arrow. It may be a compression or expansion process, but we have to figure out which of them is an adiabatic and which one is polytropic. So it was a previous gate question. You have to figure out that which process is adiabatic and which process is polytropic just by looking at it. So for that, you should know how to calculate the slope for a process. So I would like to give you a trick that you have to consider it, and you have to calculate which angle is more. So let us assume this as an angle theta 1 and it as an angle theta 2. Okay. So here you can, on negative x-axis, let us consider it as a negative x-axis. So you can easily figure out that theta 2 is greater than theta 1. So you have to remember it that slope for an adiabatic on a negative x-axis is always greater than slope for an isothermal process. Okay. So now you can easily tell, as this angle is more, so the process 2 is adiabatic and the second one is polytropic. Okay. Or it can be isothermal also. So now let us end our discussion.